Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm back again with yet another deck tech. I seem to have a little bit of a dragon fetish going on at the moment. The deck I put up yesterday, as you probably saw, was Rith, and that was all about Rakdos dragons. This time we're going into another dragon deck, and it did bring back some memories for me. For those of you who know the story, you won't be surprised when you see what today's commander is. So, without further ado, here's Rith, Liberated Primeval, 2 red, green and white, for a 5/5 legendary dragon that has flying. It also has wall 2, which makes it a little bit more complicated to kill in commander. And it also gives all the other dragons that we control wall 2 as well, which makes them even more complicated to deal with. But the next bit's the bit I was really interested in when I saw this card. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature or planeswalker an opponent controlled was dealt excess damage this turn, create a 4/4 dragon creature token with flying. Like this plan, and it's a case of how can we get things to deal excess damage. Well, it's basically very simple. It's global pump effects. So I decided to try and go down that road, as well as play around with some of the dragons that we can have in these colours to help out a bit, and some support cards around them. The reason I'm excited by this card is when I was playing a lot of tournaments back in the day, some of you may have heard the story about Brian Kibler and Rith the Awakener, enchanting it with an Armadillo cloak, if I remember correctly, and swinging in and getting a load of saplings that basically then helps him win his match. I can't remember if he won the Pro Tour, it may be in GP, I may have it wrong, I can't remember exactly, but it still brings back memories. And from my understanding is sometimes when Brian Kibler's at events nowadays, people still bring up Rith the Awakeners for him to sign. So hey, he made his name off it, fair play to him. And back in the day when I used to watch him, he was a really good Magic player, and it's nice to see him now coming back into the scene a bit more and playing a lot more Commander than I thought I would ever see anyone of his level play, but it's lovely to see. So Rith's here. So what we're going to do with Liberated Primeval, what we're going to start off with is basically a whole load of lands. The usual selection of red, green, white jewels where we can get them. Command towers in, Crucible of the Spirit Dragon I've put in as well, because we are creating dragons, so we might as well have it in this deck. I didn't play in the last deck because it's only 2 colours, this one's 3 colour, so a little bit more complicated. Exotic Orchards I've chucked in because the chances are that someone's going to be playing white or red or green, so you can get the extra mana from them. I've included Fabled Passage and Field of the Dead in here. Yes, Field of the Dead is here again. Yes, sorry. Violet Thicket, a couple of forests, 2 basic forests, 2 basic mountains, 2 basic plains, and just a whole load of other things that will help out and hopefully get us there a little bit quicker. One of the things I will mention here and now is we have got Reliquary Tower in, so we don't have to worry about having cards discarding, hopefully. And I've also included, I can't even see what I've done now, Gavany Township, so we can pump the creatures up. We want to be doing excess damage to anything we do damage to, and this is one of the easy ways of doing it in any deck that's got green and white mana available. Next, go to the ramp. We'll talk about the ramp a little bit because most of it is in the lower drops. So we've got Mox Tantalite and Soul Talisman, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Fire Diamond, Marble Diamond, Moss Diamond, Coalition Relic, Dragon Sword, Solemn Sim. I've also included Avacyn's Pilgrim and Birds of Paradise. You could play some elves in here if you wanted to, that's fine, but I decided to go with Pilgrim and Birds of Paradise. We haven't got that many white cards in the deck, it's mainly green-red to be fair, but we do need to have access to the white mana to get Rith out to play some of the other cards we'll come to in a little while. And yes, we've got white mana down here, but just bear in mind that's why I put Avacyn's Pilgrim in instead of something like Lambwell's Elves or Elvish Mystic. Moving on from here, Dragon Tempest. Yeah, I played it in the last deck, I know, but we're playing dragons again this time. We want to be doing things with the dragons when we come in. Likewise, the last deck you saw me talk about on the YouTube channel had Dragon Lord Servant and Dragon Speaker Shaman in. They're back again. They could bring down the cost of some of the dragons. There's not many dragons in the deck in comparison to the last deck, but there's still a few and we want them cheap as possible. I've put in Farseek to help go and get the lands we need. We've got some of the new lands down here somewhere. If I can find them really quickly. There you go. Like Wooded Ridgeline, so we can go and get jewels out if we need to with this, if we're mana short. Incubation Druids in to help with the ramp. Lotus Cobra, so when the lands come into play we get that extra mana, because we want to be getting up to the top end as quickly as possible. Sylvan Caryatids in, so we've got something that gives us mana ramp and is hexproof so it doesn't get killed. Likewise Scrying's in, which goes and gets us a land. I would probably be using Scry to go and get Field of the Dead, to be perfectly honest. I've also chucked in Sword of the Animist. We haven't got many basic lands in here, but again, it's another way of pumping. It's fairly cheap pumping, and you know, we have got 6 lands. So if we can get 6 hits in and get 6 attacks in with it, we can sort those lands out of our library really quickly. Even though we've got Fabled Passage in, so maybe 5 lands, depending how well we're doing. Now comes the 3-drop has a little bit more interesting stuff in it because we want to be dealing excess damage. I had to have a think about how we were going to do that, and I decided to go with, like I said, Glorious Global Anthem effect. So we've got Glorious Anthem into all our creatures get +1/+1. Dragon Speaking I've mentioned. I've chucked Sarkin in because we want the mana to cast the dragons, and at the end of the day it also gets us through our deck a little bit quicker. Azusa's in so we can get more lands in. It also benefits from the pump effects, so that could deal excess damage to something and give us our little dragon token when we have Rith in play. Beastmaster Ascension's in. We've got our attack. Hopefully we get 7 creatures attacking over the course of a few turns, and then they all get +5/+5, which makes dealing the excess damage so much easier and getting those dragon tokens into play as we do it. I've chucked in Garrick's Uprising because it gives all our creatures trample, so even if we are doing excess damage, or we can't get Rith out for some reason, we've got some way of getting some things through. But also, it's really there to do the power 4 or greater. We've got a lot of creatures that come in with power 4 or more, so we might as well get the extra bit of card draw. Growing Rights is in. I went this route instead of doing my usual Gaze Cradle deck input into MTGO. I was trying to keep the price down for MTGO, and this one currently, I did look it up before I did this video, it's sitting around, this deck at the moment, sitting around about just under 50 tickets, so it's not too bad to have this in. Rexage, to deal with any artifacts and enchantments that are annoying us. A second global enchantment for our creatures is Gaia's Anthem. Again, it's not, they're there, they come in, they do it. I'm not going to complain about it. Draconic Disciples in for this one. We've got green in this deck compared to the deck I did with Reverse the other day, so it does help us with the mana ramp, and this one's a pretty good one because if we get to 7 we can sack it off and get a 5/5 dragon, which could be helpful. I've chucked in Faza Yadamar to make sure all our creatures have haste so we can benefit from them the turn they come in, and yeah, it is possible we need to save something at some stage so we can sack this off and give something +2/+2. Coalition Relic and Dragon Sword have already gone through. I thought we'd have a bit of fun, put the Sieges in. Dragons came through in the Khan set. Fate Reforged this one was from, sorry. So this decided to come in. You know, I'm not sure which one you pick, it depends how far. If you're ahead, you probably want to stay ahead, so you go Khans. If you're behind, maybe Dragons. So tap the people's creatures down and get on with it. And at the beginning of combat on each opponent's turn, tap target creature, so you can save yourself a little bit with this. Day of Judgment for some mass removal. Crucible of Fire, because that helps us make our dragons even bigger, so we can deal that excess damage and get that lovely little bit of 4, you know, the other dragons coming in when we have Rith in play. Outpost Siege as well. Again, this is probably more likely to be set on dragons than Khans. I realise that because creatures will be dying in this deck, and we could be able to get them, you know, when they die, ping someone's always quite nice. Atushi, the Blazing Skies in. I'm getting a little bit obsessed with this dragon as well. It's just the fact that when it dies you get the treasure tokens, just makes me happy. Frontier Siege is in, and this will primarily be set on Khans, I would guess, to get your ramp up. If you've got enough ramp on the go already, setting it on dragons isn't a bad idea, but it does mean your dragons will fight and they may die, especially if you're fighting things with Death Touch. I'm more likely to set Frontier Siege on Khans than anything else. I put in Monster Manual. It could get to the point where you're getting big creatures stuck in your hand, and paying the 1 and the green and tapping it to put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield is really good. And if you've got the mana to do it, you can do it in your end of your opponent's turn, or put a surprise blocker in they aren't expecting, so bear that in mind. I've chucked in Beast Whisperer so we can get some more card draw on the go. One of the things I realised with red, green, white decks... red, green, white decks is that card draw isn't always readily available, so I figured Beast Whisperer could come into this one to help out a little bit with that. Garrick's in for the overrun at -4. +1 and untapping 2 lands does kind of help as well at some stage, so bear that in mind, but it's mainly there to try and get up to 4 so we can give everything +3 and maybe trample. Yes, I'm not sure how this is going to interact, but I think having the trample ability just to get that few extra points in is pretty good going. Likewise, I've chucked in Overworld Oddity. It's a 4/4 for 4 that has Trample and Haste, which is good. And if we've got 7 mana kicking around at some stage, it pumps our creatures and gives them more Trample and Haste as well. So we can't complain, so that's why it's in. I've chucked in Helm of the Host. I haven't played Helm of the Host for a while, and only the decks I've talked about this week from Dominaria United. And I decided to chuck it in here, mainly because we've got a couple of things I wouldn't mind copying. I haven't quite got to them yet, well, apart from maybe Solemn Sin, but that's a really expensive way of ramping your mana out. But there are some of the creatures coming up that I would like to get more copies of as things go along. So I'll mention it as I go through, and I'll come back to Helm of the Host in a minute. Into the 5 drops, AO the Dawn Skies come in. Top 7 cards your library when it dies. Going to get a total mana value of 4 or less from among them onto the battlefield, or you can put +2/+1/+1 counters on each permanent you control as a creature or vehicle. You're going to be doing the second one 9 times out of 10 when AO dies, so yeah. Doomscar for a bit of mass removal. Ganax was in the deck you saw from Rivaz the other day. I've also included it here. We've got dragons, we might as well get some treasures and hope things along. Obson Charmor, I don't think I put it in the reverse deck. I've put it in here though, mainly because we want to blow up, destroy target non-basic land an opponent controls, and I decided it's a bit of fun. And it's, this spell costs 1 less for each land your opponents control that could produce colourless mana. There are a lot of people now picking up things like Shivan Reef and the pain lands that have been reprinted, so I'm expecting to see them uptick slightly in Commander. So this will deal with them. It also deals with things like Gavany Township, Morocco, Centre of the Sea, like we have in this deck. But it does help us out a little bit, and it's a dragon that flies, so yeah, why not? Yep, Terror of the Peaks is back. I talked about it in the previous video. I bought one. Anything that I have dragons in now, this is going into just for the fact that it will just ping, ping, ping all day long. Thragtusk is in here. Like I said, this isn't just dragons this affects, it's excess damage for anything, and Thragtusk is pretty good. So although it comes in as a 5/3, you get 5 life, but when it dies you get left with a 3/3 beast token. It seemed like a cunning plan to try it out in this deck for me. Kira the Boundless Skies in as well. At the end of the day, we can either go and get 3 land cards, and they're any 3 land cards, they're not basic, so it does help us sort out if we want to go and get some jewels or something that we need from over here. Or we can get a nice big spirit creature where X is the number of lands you control. So, not sure which one we'll do when this dies, but it's in the deck. Probably the first one. If they're out early, if it's out late, probably the second one. Mirari's Wakesid helps us with our mana, doubles things up, and also pumps all our creatures up. It probably becomes an instant target for every disenchant spell in the opponent's hands, but hey, whatever. Dragon Brood Mother's in as well. Now I think this is a good card. It gives you don't have to devour anything, you don't have to do anything with it. We've got enough ways of pumping up, Crucible of Fire, Glorious Anthem, Beastmaster Ascension, Gaia's Anthem, Mirari's Wake. So we can pump up the 1/1s it's making anyway. It's just a shame they don't have haste, but if you have this in play and you're getting a nice little dragon at the beginning of each upkeep, so notice it's each upkeep, by the way, so it's not just your upkeep, it's all your opponent's upkeeps. If you've got Terror in the Peaks in play as well, you're going to be pinging people for a little bit of damage, and Terror of the Peaks will check to see if it's being pumped by things like Mirari's Wake. So it could be 2/2s, 3/3s coming in, so you could be shocking or lightning bolt things as these happen. Dragon Lord Dracoma's in. Gives us a way it can't be countered, and your opponents can't cast spells during your turn, so if you get this into play you are going to go off, which is really nice, and you haven't got to worry about anything. Admittedly, again, it would probably be killed quite quickly, but I'd sooner have it in play and get the things up and running and hope it's alright. Rith the Awakener, I've always mentioned about it, but I'll just point out the second ability here. 2 and a green, if you do choose a colour, then create a 1/1 green sapling creature token for each permanent of that colour. We've got a lot of green permanents in this deck. We've got a lot of red permanents in the deck. The chances are you're going to be able to get, if you've got the spare mana when this hits home, you'll be able to get 3, 4, 5 saplings at a minimum, I'd guess, or at least I'd hope you would anyway. But no, it's just a little thing on the side here. I haven't got Anointed Procession here, I haven't got Parallel Lives, I haven't got Doubling Season. This is not a token focused deck like one of the ones I did earlier in the week. This is really about having some fun with Rith, just to do so. So that's why I didn't put any of the token doublers in. It seemed like a bit of overkill in this deck, and it makes everything a bit the same. So I've tried to keep this one a little bit different to what I'd usually do. Speaking of different, Dracoseth Maw the Flames comes in on our 7-drop land. Attacks feel damage to a target, 3 damage to 2 other targets. Seems like a cunning plan and a really good way of getting things sorted out. Old Gnawbone is also in because we're going to deal damage. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, create that many treasure tokens. Helps us ramp up even more. Dragon Lord Ataka. It's an 8/8 flying trample, really. There's dealing the 5 damage between creatures and planeswalkers, okay, but you're not really going to rely on it to win the game. But you are going to go in with an 8/8, which is going to cause a few headaches. Interestingly, in this deck, it's not an angel deck, but I've included a Chroma's Memorial to give all our creatures first strike, vigilance, trample, haste, and protection from red and black. The haste is really important in here, so that's good. One of the creatures I'll be looking to put Helm of the Host on next, which is Woodfall Primus. If we can get copies of Woodfall Primus coming into play off Helm of the Host and just blow up target non-creature permanents, we're going to upset our opponents really greatly. The last 3 cards, Blasphemous Act, just so we can control the board a little bit better. Earthquake Dragon, because we're playing dragons, and why would you not play this card now? It's ridiculously good. And we're going to have dragons in. At the end of the day, sacrifice the land, return as a hand. Yes, paying 15 is going to be virtually impossible in a deck, but even a couple of dragons, even a Gastral, Ganex Astral Hunter will drop 5, takes down to 10. You're getting somewhere where you can get it into play quite quickly. The final card in the deck is Genesis Wave. A lot of my original early green-based commander decks had Genesis Wave in, and we're going through everything, and I love Genesis Wave. I still love Genesis Wave, hence why it's back in this deck. Just a little bit of old-school enjoyment for me. You can take this out and put something in you think's more appropriate. If you really want Parallel Lives, Anointed Procession, Doubling Season for the tokens, that's fine. But I'm playing Genesis Wave. So, that's it. That's my little take on Rith the Liberated Primeval. There's going to be more coming out. I've had a bit of a spurge this week. I'm going to try and get a few more out shortly. But as I'm recording this, it's September, so I'm just going to hopefully say to you now, please hit the follow button here on YouTube. Leave me a comment, let me know what I've left out. And down below in the description, you can find my link to my Twitch stream. I'd love it if you went and gave me a follow over there. If you've got an Amazon Prime sub you're not using on anyone else, I wouldn't say no to it either to keep the stream going. I am desperately trying to get up to 150 followers by my birthday, which is the 3rd of October. 107 at the moment because we had Spinelli MTG come and follow me the other day, which was really good of her. So she was my latest subscriber, so I'm really pleased that's there. So she's numbered 107. But if I can get anyone else to come and do it as well, I'll give you a shout out when I'm doing the YouTube videos because I keep a track of what's going on. But anyway, thanks for watching this one. Let me know what you think. Let me know what I've missed. And I'll hopefully see you all over on my Twitch stream very, very soon. Take care. See you later. Bye.